Next up, we have George Minnie from AutoTrader. He's the CEO of AutoTrader. George has been on a journey through the eye of the storm of the automated digital revolution, an architect of change and the driving force behind AutoTrader's successful transition from a print business into a digital giant and clear market leader in its category. Being at its helm since 2007, George is an active thought leader and experienced blogger. He has his own blog at georgemienie.co.za, who has been published in a number of prominent magazines, newspapers, online publications, and has appeared as a guest on numerous television shows in South Africa. He has a solid social media presence on all major networks and reaches and influences not only the motoring public, but also car dealers with industry insights, trying to push and drive the motoring economy of South Africa forward. He has innovated the process of giving car dealers accurate minute-by-minute demand, supply, and pricing data, providing live market data, and believes in people leadership and mentorship of his team. Using influences in his leadership style, he is allergic to dictators and invests heavily in growing people because at the end of the day, the world is made up of people and not computers. Welcome, George.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. I hope that you're having a great time so far. Today, I'm going to try and answer a question, and that is, what do businesses need to do to keep up? Because one thing we can all agree on, and that it's been business unusual. Or in my world, in AutoTrader, and in the automotive world in South Africa, it's been mobility unusual. And if automotive retail, or any retail for that matter, is going to successfully rebound from these unprecedented times, layered with increasing complexity and faster digital transformation, we, us businesses, need to adapt faster than ever before. But to some degree, data provides a roadmap to just that, the future. One thing I believed for a very long time is that you can't predict the future, but you can definitely plan for it. I'm not sure that perhaps after 2020, I buy into that anymore, because COVID-19 hit, and it hit hard. This global pandemic created uncertainty. The future of companies were in question. Big companies closed down, like Edcon. Many print publications closed down. And this is testament to the fact that the future is definitely uncertain. And now we stand talking about the future of our businesses and of e-commerce. With faster digital transformation, how do we stimulate retail sales in this new world? But before we carry on with that, a little bit about me. I'm a techie at heart. Grew up in Cape Town in South Africa, and when I was 9, my dad bought me a Commodore 64, and I think this started my passion for technology. In those early years, in the first versions of the Commodore 64, you didn't have too many pre-coded games. You had to code the games yourself and then put the tape drive in and play the game using the tape drive. And I've been fortunate to travel the world, see things and experience things that I'm passionate about. Mostly electric cars. I managed to visit very interesting events around the world, like the National Automobile Dealers Association once a year. I couldn't go this year because of the ban on travel and lockdowns being 2021. But I managed to see things that are happening around the world and meet interesting people and influencers, people that have founded big companies. But I could never do all this alone. Another part of the success of a digital business is the people and the bedrock of the culture that work within that business. So we are human, we have flaws, we make mistakes, businesses make mistakes, but it's my life's mission to learn. So digital innovation is in my blood. I've lived through digital innovation. And today I'm going to give you the formula that got AutoTrader to be where it is today, or a little bit of that formula. Today, AutoTrader sits on 76 million pages opened per month, with almost 10 million visits and distributing about 500,000 leads to the automotive industry each and every month. We are 30 times bigger as a digital platform than we ever were in print. And I want you to remember that word platform, because it's an important part of why AutoTrader could do what it's done in today's world. I think, given lockdown, given all of the COVID-19 and the pandemic that we've gone through, had AutoTrader been a print business still, we would certainly have seen our demise, but we didn't. So when life was normal, COVID-19, national lockdowns started, the fundamental change in shopping behavior of consumers created a situation where we noticed two driving forces. And these two driving forces highlighted the importance of digital innovation right at the beginning of lockdown, if you remember March 2020 in South Africa. These two driving forces were the macroeconomic factors and the shift in the consumer mindset. So those were the two driving forces that we noticed. And we can all agree that in South Africa anyway, and many places around the world, we were already in a decline. GDP was under pressure, inflation was under pressure, and we were seeing a single-digit decline in new car sales. And then the 5th of March 2020 hit. SA recorded its first case of COVID-19. And this is where the second driving force becomes important. There was a pronounced consumer shift, almost immediately, because the low point of visits to AutoTrader.co.za, the search, the conversion, was actually not during national lockdown. It was on the day before lockdown. On the 26th of March, single-day traffic to AutoTrader's website was 45% down year on year. And we can only assume people were out panic buying. Panic buying essential goods and things that they thought they needed with this impending doom. And consumer search for cars started to rise the very next day. The day that lockdown started, consumer search for cars started to rise, and it's risen every single day since. And this resulted in a 50% growth in our platform year on year, and that has maintained that trajectory all the way through lockdown, right up until this moment in time. We also very, very quickly saw consumers change their shopping behavior. We saw consumers increase their search by 20% between the hours of 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning. Who searches for cars at 1 o'clock in the morning? But if you think most of the search happened at 11 p.m., you're mistaken, because there was a marked 78% increase in searches between the hours of 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning. People became insomniacs. In fact, during lockdown, we saw more searches at midnight than we saw at 9 a.m. on a regular day. We also saw a buying down trend. We saw the under 50,000 Rand car category increase by 15%, and the under 100,000 Rand car category increased by 29%. So, level 1 lockdown then fast approached towards the end of 2020, and we saw another marked shift in consumer shopping behavior. There was a 10-fold increase in consumers searching for armored cars. And I can only imagine that it's because as lockdowns were lifted, so consumers were starting to see crime again. And it gives us many, many insights, but I think we can all agree that based on the macroeconomic factors that we mentioned earlier on, the world was changing anyway. And it would be wise of us as businesses and as industries to take an even bigger step back and accept that we were changing anyway. The internet has caused massive amounts of change. But arguably, COVID-19 and the lockdowns has accelerated the pace of the digital innovation curve. And I'd argue that the digital innovation curve, because of lockdown and because of the pandemics, has compressed. And we've seen it happen before our eyes. And all of those nuances I brought out for you just now, there's not enough time to bring out massive amounts of data. And there were plenty shopping behavior changes through lockdown which taught us how fast consumers shift. This digital innovation curve has compressed, and it's caused a roller coaster ride for many businesses. So how do we make sense of the world? How do we go forward? How do we plan for the future when we're now in a situation where it's largely unpredictable? I'd like to propose a couple of ideas. Using what I know about platforms and if that's okay with you. The first thing I'd like to propose is that there are two types of businesses. Now, yes, there are many types of businesses, but for the sake of this particular argument, I'd like to propose that there are two types of businesses. The first type of business is a producer type business. And the second type of business is a platform type business. And ever so rarely, a business comes along that's both a producer as well as a platform business. And if you stick around to the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you an example of a business that is both a producer and a platform business. There's many of them. I'm just going to show you one that relates to my world. So let's start off with the producer type business. Producer type businesses are companies that make things, sell things to customers. They could also buy things and sell them on to customers, not necessarily manufacture, but they sell products, cars, cell phones, physical world products. Value creation in a producer type business typically happens inside the company. The value gets created inside the company, in the creation of that product or in the on-selling of that product. So we all know what producer type businesses are. I don't need to go into any detail or any much more detail for you to understand. The second type of business, however, and more interestingly, is a platform type business where value creation partly happens outside the company. Take Instagram as an example. Instagram wasn't number one. Snapchat was number one, but Instagram trumped Snapchat. And the only way Instagram trumped Snapchat was because they listened to their users. They watched the interactions of their users on their platform. Like Google learns from your interactions. Facebook learns from your interactions and gives you a very different newsfeed to the newsfeed that I see. And the trick, or the magic, should I say, not the trick, lies in being able to convert these consumers into producers of value for you. And platforms focus on these interactions, both on the same side of networks as well as on cross sides of the network. And I want you to remember that term, networks. Because if you can increase the quantity and the quality of those interactions on the same side of a platform's network, as well as the cross sides of a platform's network, therein lies the magic. So let me rewind a little bit. AutoTrader was a producer type business, and I can only use AutoTrader as an example because I've lived through digital transformation. It had limited network effects. We sold a magazine. We distributed approximately 200,000 magazines in order to sell 120,000. We weren't a platform business. We couldn't learn from the interactions of our users. We couldn't learn from the interactions of our sellers with our buyers. We couldn't learn from the interactions between our sellers and what pages they were looking at, what cars they were looking at, and how they ended up at the car seller. So fast forward to today, and AutoTrader has become a platform business that now connects millions of buyers of cars with sellers of cars, often referred to as a two-sided marketplace. That's the kind of platform AutoTrader is. And there are many types of platforms. Google is a platform that connects searchers of information with providers of information. And the internet has allowed platforms to leverage off this principle called network effects. I asked you to remember the term network effects. And there's something unique about platforms with network effects. And that is they become incredibly valuable. The value of platforms versus producers are starkly different. And as you can see, Uber, created in 2009, has 27,000 employees and is worth over $100 billion US. On the flip side, a company, BMW, started in 1916, has over 120,000 employees and is worth just over $60 billion US. And you can go on and on and on. Airbnb versus Marriott, Facebook versus Walt Disney. Principally, Facebook and Walt Disney do the same thing. They produce entertainment. And many people can't understand this. They can't understand that a platform type business with no assets can be so valuable. Is it a bubble? How can these companies be valued at such numbers? And to understand that it's not a bubble, one needs to understand the principle of network effects. But first, let's not confuse two things. The first is viral effects versus network effects. Viral effects are very short-lived. And I'm not talking about viral effects. Viral effects typically travel in one direction, and when interacted with once, maybe twice, it's over. Have you ever interacted with a viral video multiple times? Probably not. You forward it on, and that's it. The viral effect travels in one direction. Whereas network effects, on the other hand, are different. And herein lay the power and the reason for those values that you saw on the screen just now. It's the digital connections, the application or service that you and your customer use to engage with each other. And the term digital transformation is buried or embedded in that principle. Digital transformation is definitely not about turning things into digital contracts, digital signing. Yes, those are part of digital transformation, but it's not the essence of digital transformation of a business, really. Digital transformation is really becoming a platform business with network effects. Everything else is still important in digitizing your business, or should I say, digitalizing your business. But digital transformation is something very different. And some companies struggle to survive because I think they struggle to understand this principle of platforms and network effects. How do I get the network of my customers successfully working for me? So I'd like to propose that there are now 4 competitive advantages in the world today. First, vertical integration. I don't need to tell you too much about that. Building a brand is incredibly important. Getting to scale is incredibly important, and there's ways to do that. But I'd like to add a 4th competitive advantage, and that is network effects. And if businesses can harness network effects to their business's advantage, it will be the biggest competitive advantage, or should I say the biggest single competitive advantage, much bigger than the other 3. So in the context of everything we've spoken about today, I'd like to propose 3 key tactics you should use today. And key tactic number 1 is leverage the bottom of the funnel. And these 3 key tactics will play into the last part of what we will go through, which is the 5 key business trends. Leverage the bottom of the funnel. If you think of the car shopping journey, or any shopping journey for that matter, as a funnel, leveraging the bottom of the funnel for the sales of today is vitally important to keep your business alive. AutoTrader is a 2-sided marketplace, and we operate squarely at the bottom of the funnel. We get in-market car shoppers, people that are imminent in the buying process, and we pass those on to the car seller. So leverage the bottom of the funnel. Find the platforms for your business that give you the biggest leverage over the bottom of the funnel. The second key tactic I'd like to propose is build a brand. Because the internet commoditizes everything to the lowest price, businesses with the strongest brands online will be the ones left standing at the end. So build a brand online, not just a brand on things like TV, billboards, and above the line, but build a brand online because of the commoditization of prices, because of the internet. How do you do this? You leverage third-party platforms based on the context of the customer that's on that platform. What do I mean by that? Putting adverts on your Instagram feed does not work. Putting interesting content onto Instagram that is useful to the customer in their context on that platform and why they're on that platform is what you should be doing to build a brand. Build a reputation. Because 60% of consumers research your brand on social media before buying from you. And that's not just in the car shopping world. The third key tactic I'd like to propose then is building a platform. And that goes along with everything that we've been saying. Build a platform that you can learn from your customers with. To do this, you need good analytics and good reporting. Build a platform that automates and integrates the internal workings of your business and the business operations. as well as integrates your same-side network, your customer side, as well as if you have cross-side network effects. And this road to building a platform is the most exciting of all. So in the context of everything you've heard today, I'd like to propose that there are 5 key business trends in the world that are happening before our eyes. And those 5 key business trends are businesses are wanting to become subscription businesses. And I'm going to give you some examples in a few minutes. Businesses are wanting to become platform businesses. We've spoken a lot about platform businesses during the course of this presentation. Businesses are becoming more social. Businesses are becoming more employee or customer-centric, or both. And businesses are definitely becoming more data and tech-focused. So let's go through a few examples. I don't need to introduce the business on the screen. Apple Computers. Is Apple a subscription business? Is it a producer business? Or is it a platform business? I'd argue it's all 3, but Apple is trying to be a subscription business. If you look at Apple TV, if you look at iTunes, music, podcasts, those are all subscription services. It's cloud storage. I wouldn't be surprised if the main part of Apple's revenue in the future is not hardware sales, but subscription revenue. Is Apple becoming more social? I would argue yes. Is Apple employee or customer-centric? You just have to look at how people love their devices. Yes, you get the haters. People love their devices, and you'll see why and how they are customer-centric. Do they leverage data and tech? I would say they're probably one of the best in the world that leverage data and tech. The next business example is Amazon. Are they a subscription business? More than 50% of Amazon's revenue is from their two-sided marketplace, but it's just taken 20 years to get there. Are they a platform? I would say yes. Are they social? Do you know who the CEO of Amazon is or was? Are they employee or customer-centric? I would argue yes. Do they leverage data and tech? I would say yes. Look at the cloud computing services like AWS, which is also part of their subscription, part of their business. Yes, Amazon has the Kindle Fire and their tablets, but really that is a means to an end to their subscription business. Let's look at AutoTrader. Is AutoTrader a subscription business? Yes, we are. Are we a platform business? Yes, we are. We're a two-sided marketplace platform. Are we social? I would argue yes. Are we employee and customer-centric? I would argue yes. Based on what I know about AutoTrader's success, culture and people have been one of the fundamental drivers of this business's success. Are we leveraging data and tech? I know that we are. And then let me introduce you to the one example, yes, there are others and probably others in a couple that I've mentioned, that is both a producer business as well as a platform business, and that is Tesla Motors. Is Tesla a subscription business? You might argue not. I think they will become a subscription business, and I'll explain to you why in a second. Are they a platform business? Look at their charging network, and you will see a platform business. What does the Tesla charging network do? One of the biggest charging networks in the United States. They connect suppliers of power with consumers of power. And in between that is an application, Tesla's application, which is a platform. And that platform has cross-site network effects and same-side network effects. And Tesla has just done one fundamental thing, which I think may change the game. And that is they've opened up their charging network to non-Tesla cars. Now, if you're driving a Jaguar I-Pace, a Nissan Leaf, a BMW i3, a Porsche Taycan, you have to download the Tesla app in order to use their charging network. How does that add to the network effects on the Tesla platform? There's their platform business. And I'd like to argue that the car, while it's a car, is more of a platform of the future than it is a product or a car. And I'll leave that one for you to figure out. So how do you do the same in your market or in your business? Well, remember those 3 key tactics? I'd like to propose that you start with those 3. Leverage the bottom of the funnel. You still need sales today. Find the platforms that you can leverage the bottom of the funnel through. Facebook is not necessarily the bottom of the funnel for many businesses. Find the platform that leverages the bottom of the funnel. Build a brand. Today's marketing is the future sales of your business. Build a brand online because the internet commoditizes everything down to its lowest price. And you want to be the brand left standing at the end of all of that. And then build a platform business. Whether you're a producer business or whether you're just a pure platform business or an internet business, you can build a platform with network effects and potentially with viral effects that get your business going. So I'd like to ask you, are you keeping up? Are you keeping up with the compression of the digital innovation curve? And then what is your role going to be to take advantage of the compression of the digital innovation curve? So thank you very much, everybody. And if you'd like to follow me, I'm on all social media networks. You just have to go @GeorgeMienie and you'll find me. Please give me a follow and let me know what you think of the content. Thank you for listening. See you next time.